Stop working hard. I repeat, stop working hard. Hard work is not the answer. If hard work was the answer, the rickshaw puller would be the richest man in India. If hard work was the answer, the donkey would be the king of the jungle, not the lion. You have been taught a lie. Input equals output. If I study for 10 hours, I get 10 units of result. If I work for 8 hours, I get 8 units of money. This is linear thinking. But the universe is not linear. The universe is exponential. The universe is unfair. Today, I am going to teach you the most important mathematical law for efficiency. It is called the Pareto Principle, or the 8020 rule. This rule will save you thousands of hours of wasted life. It will save you from burnout. It will make you rich while you work less. Let's go back to 1896. An Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto was gardening. He noticed something strange about his pea plants. He saw that 20% of the pea pods contained 80% of the peas. The other 80% of the pods were empty or weak. He looked around. He analyzed land ownership in Italy. He discovered that 80% of the land was owned by only 20% of the population. He looked at other countries. The ratio was the same. 8020. This is not a coincidence. This is a universal law of nature. It applies to everything. Look at the economy. 20% of the people own 80% of the wealth. Look at business. 20% of the customers produce 80% of the revenue. Look at your phone. You spend 80% of your time on just 20% of your apps. Look at your closet. You wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. Look at your carpet. 20% of the carpet gets 80% of the wear and tear. Why does this matter to you? Because right now, you are violating this law. You are treating every task as equal. You have a to-do list with 10 items. And you think doing item number 10 is just as important as doing item number 1. You are spreading your energy evenly. This is a mistake. This is why you are tired and broke. If you have 10 tasks, 2 of them are worth more than the other 8 combined. Those 2 tasks are the vital few. The other 8 are the trivial many. But what do? You procrastinate on the 2 important tasks because they are hard. And you spend all day doing the 8 easy tasks. Checking emails, cleaning your desk, replying to comments. And at the end of the day, you say, I worked so hard today. No, you were busy. You were not productive. Being busy is a form of laziness. Lazy thinking and indiscriminate action. You must become a sniper of the 20%. Let's apply this to your studies. If you are preparing for an exam, 80% of the questions come from 20% of the syllabus. The smart student analyzes past papers. He identifies the core topics. He masters that 20% completely. He gets high marks with less study time. The average student tries to memorize the entire textbook. He treats every page as equal. He burns out. He fails. Let's apply this to your income. Analyze your income sources. If you are a freelancer or a business owner, look at your clients. Which clients give you the most money with the least headache? Usually, 20% of your clients give you 80% of your profit. And the other 80% of clients? They give you 20% of the money, but 80% of the complaints. They call you at midnight. They ask for discounts. They drain your energy. What should you do? Fire them. Fire the bottom 80% of your clients. It sounds crazy, but I will lose money. No, you will lose a little bit of money. But you will gain massive amounts of time and energy. You can use that time to find more of the top 20% clients. This is how you scale. You subtract to multiply. Let's apply this to your relationships. Look at your contact list. You have 500 friends on Facebook. You have 50 people in your WhatsApp groups. But who are the ones who actually add value to your life? Who are the ones who support your dreams? Who are the ones who make you laugh? Maybe 5 people, maybe 10. That is your 20%. Spend 80% of your time with them. Ignore the rest. Stop trying to please everyone. It is mathematically impossible and strategically stupid. The 8020 rule is brutal. It exposes the truth that most of what we do is useless. It hurts to realize that 80% of your efforts last year were wasted. But you must accept this. Once you accept it, you become free. You stop feeling guilty about saying no. You stop feeling guilty about not finishing a boring book. You stop feeling guilty about ignoring stupid emails. You realize that good is the enemy of great. The 80% tasks are good. They are nice to do, but they block you from the great. I want you to audit your life like a ruthless CEO. I want you to identify your time vampires. What are the activities that take 80% of your time but give 0% return? Video games? Politics? Gossip? Eliminate them ruthlessly. Now, let me tell you the advanced secret of the 8020 rule. You can apply the rule to itself. You can take the top 20% and find the 20% of that 20%. That is 4%. The top 4% of your inputs produce 64% of your outputs. And you can go deeper. The top 1% of your inputs produce 50% of your outputs. This is the 1% rule. Look at the music industry. Thousands of singers release songs every day. But 1% of the singers make 90% of the money. Look at YouTube. 1% of the channels get 90% of the views. Why? Because they found the extreme leverage point. They focused entirely on the thing that matters most. For a singer, it is writing a hit hook. For a YouTuber, it might be the thumbnail and title. If the thumbnail is bad, nobody clicks. The video could be a masterpiece, but if nobody clicks, the result is zero. So the smart YouTuber spends 80% of his time on the thumbnail and title, the 20% that matters, and 20% of the time on the editing. The amateur spends 100% of the time on editing and 5 minutes on the thumbnail. He fails. Do you see the difference? It is not about talent. It is about leverage. It is about knowing where to push. Archimedes said, "Give me a lever long enough, and I will move the world." The 8020 rule is your lever. Stop trying to move the rock with your bare hands. Find the lever. Find the weak point. Find the shortcut. Society tells you shortcuts are bad. Society tells you, take the long road. Society is wrong. Efficiency is a virtue. If you can achieve the same result in 2 hours, instead of 10 hours, you are not lazy. You are a genius. You have saved 8 hours of your life. 8 hours you can spend with your family. 8 hours you can spend working out. 8 hours you can spend sleeping. Time is your most precious asset. Do not waste it on low-value activities. So, how do you find your 20%? You must track your data. You cannot manage what you do not measure. For 1 week, write down everything you do. Every hour. Be honest. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. scrolled Instagram. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. replied to emails. 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. worked on the main project. At the end of the week, look at the list. Circle the activities that actually moved you closer to your goal. You will be shocked. You will see that you only worked for maybe 3 hours out of 40. The rest was noise. The rest was motion, not action. Now, imagine if you took those waste hours and poured them into the vital activities. Imagine if you spent 40 hours only on the top 20% tasks. Your productivity would explode. You would achieve in a month what takes others a year. This is how billionaires operate. They delegate the 80%. They outsource the cleaning. They outsource the driving. They outsource the scheduling. They focus only on the high-level decisions. The decisions that move millions of dollars. You might not be a billionaire yet. You might not be able to hire a staff. But you can still delete. You can still say, no. If you are an employee, ask your boss, what are the 2 or 3 things that are most critical for my success? Focus on those. If you do those perfectly, nobody cares if you are late for a meeting. Nobody cares if your desk is messy. Results protect you. Results give you freedom. But if you do the trivial things perfectly and miss the big goals, you will be fired. Effectiveness is doing the right things. Efficiency is doing things right. You need to be effective first, then efficient. Don't be efficient at doing useless things. That is the worst use of your life. I want you to look at your to-do list for today. Cross out 80% of it. Yes, physically cross it out. If you have 10 items, keep only 2. The 2 that scare you. The 2 that will make the biggest impact. Do those first. Do those before lunch. If you finish those 2, your day is a success. Even if you do nothing else. But if you do the other 8 and miss the top 2, your day is a failure. Stop majoring in minor things. Stop polishing the pebbles and ignoring the diamonds. Life is short. You do not have time for everything. You only have time for what matters. The 8020 rule is the razor that cuts the fat. It is the lens that focuses the light. Use it, every day, every hour. Ask yourself, is this in the top 20%? If the answer is no, stop doing it. Drop it, delegate it, or delay it. Your energy is gold. Do not spend gold on plastic. Spend gold on diamonds. The few, the vital, the important. That is where the treasure lies. That is where the 1% live. Join them. Focus on the 20%. Get the 80%. This is the success formula. Work smart, not just hard.